Okay, so Amy Schumer just dropped a photo on Instagram, and the internet absolutely lost its mind. And honestly, when I first saw it, I had to do a double take because we're not talking about some subtle change here. We're talking about a full blown transformation that has everyone asking the same question. What exactly happened, and why is nobody talking about the real story behind this? Because here's the thing. Amy posted these Vegas photos on October 4th, looking absolutely incredible in this black button-down dress with these killer open back heels, and the comment section literally exploded with people saying they almost didn't recognize her. But before you start thinking this is just another celebrity weight loss story where they disappear for 6 months and come back looking completely different without any explanation, Amy's actually been brutally honest about her journey, and that's what makes this so fascinating. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, great, another Hollywood transformation story where someone gets rich and suddenly looks amazing. But hold on, because Amy's approach to this whole thing is actually refreshing in a way that most celebrities would never dare to be. And I'm going to break down exactly what she did, why she did it, and the one medication she swears by that insurance companies don't want you to know about unless you meet very specific criteria. But first, let me tell you about the moment that started everything, because it wasn't just vanity. It was something way more personal that happened after she became a mom in 2019. So Amy welcomed her son Gene with her husband Chris Fisher back in 2019, and like so many new moms, she found herself dealing with postpartum body changes that honestly nobody really prepares you for. And I think that's something people don't talk about enough because there's this insane pressure on women, especially celebrities, to just bounce back immediately like nothing happened. Amy tried everything at first, the diets, the workouts, all the usual stuff people recommend, but she wasn't seeing the results she wanted, and more importantly, she wasn't feeling like herself. And that's when she made a decision that shocked a lot of people. She got liposuction, and she didn't hide it. Now, most celebrities would go to a private clinic, get the procedure done, and then pretend they just magically lost weight through yoga and green juice, but not Amy. She came right out and said, "Yeah, I got lipo, and I'm not ashamed of it because this is my body and my choice." I actually respect that level of honesty because how many times have we seen actresses and models swear up and down that they achieved their physique through some miracle workout routine when we all know there's more to the story? Amy basically said, "Look, I tried the traditional route, it didn't work for me the way I wanted, so I made a different choice, and I'm owning it." But here's where the story gets even more interesting, because the liposuction was just the beginning, and what Amy did next actually sparked a massive conversation about weight loss medications that the medical community is still debating today. Fast forward to March of this year, and Amy drops another bombshell. She reveals in an Instagram post that she's been using a medication called Mounjaro, which is a GLP-1 drug that's been making headlines for its effectiveness in weight management. And the way she talked about it was so refreshingly honest that it actually caught me off guard. She straight up said, "Mounjaro has been great for me," but then she added this crucial detail that most people glossed over. It's not covered by insurance unless you have diabetes or severe obesity. And then she threw in this perfect Amy Schumer style comment saying, "which most of the internet thinks I have anyway." That line right there tells you everything about how she deals with online criticism, because instead of pretending people aren't constantly commenting on her body, she addresses it head on with humor while still being real about her experience. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly is Mounjaro and why is everyone suddenly talking about these GLP-1 medications? And this is where things get really fascinating because we're not just talking about some sketchy diet pill here. We're talking about a medication that was originally designed for type 2 diabetes, but doctors noticed something incredible during the trials. Patients were losing significant amounts of weight as a side effect. And I mean significant. We're talking about average weight loss that rivals even surgical interventions in some cases. So pharmaceutical companies started doing more research specifically focused on weight management, and that's how we ended up with drugs like Mounjaro, Ozempic, and Wegovy, all making headlines. But here's the catch that Amy pointed out, and this is super important. Insurance companies won't cover it unless you meet very specific medical criteria, which means if you're someone who wants to lose maybe 20 or 30 pounds, but you don't technically qualify as obese by medical standards, you're paying out of pocket. And these medications are expensive. I'm talking hundreds of dollars per month expensive. So when Amy came out and said she's using Mounjaro, she wasn't just sharing her personal journey. She was actually opening up a conversation about accessibility and privilege when it comes to these new weight loss tools. Because the reality is that most regular people can't afford to drop that kind of money every month on a medication that insurance won't cover. Amy acknowledged this indirectly by mentioning the insurance issue, and I think that shows a level of self-awareness that not every celebrity has when they're promoting their latest health journey. Now, let's talk about those Vegas photos that just came out, because this is where we can actually see the results of everything Amy had been doing over the past few years. And honestly, the transformation is pretty dramatic when you compare it to photos from even a year ago. In the October 4th Instagram post, Amy's wearing this short black button-down dress that perfectly shows off her slimmer figure, paired with these matching open back heels that give the whole look this effortless, chic vibe. And she's posing with friends looking genuinely happy and confident. The comments on that post are absolutely wild. You've got people saying she looks amazing. You've got people asking what her secret is, even though she's already told everyone exactly what she's doing. And then, of course, you've got the inevitable critics who have something negative to say no matter what. But what struck me most about these photos wasn't just the physical change, it was how comfortable and confident Amy looked. Like she wasn't posing for the gram trying to show off. She was just genuinely enjoying time with friends in Vegas and happened to document it. Now, I want to address something that I think is really important here, because whenever a celebrity loses weight and talks about using medication to help, there's always this wave of criticism that comes with it. People saying they're promoting unhealthy standards or taking the easy way out. And I've got some thoughts on that. First of all, let's be real for a second. Amy didn't have to tell anyone about the liposuction or the Mounjaro. She could have just lost the weight and let people speculate, taken the compliments, and never revealed her methods. But she chose transparency, and I think that actually matters. She's not out here selling some bogus detox tea or claiming she achieved this through some miracle workout routine that doesn't actually work. She's being honest about medical interventions and medications that actually do have scientific backing. Does that mean everyone should run out and get liposuction or try to get a prescription for Mounjaro? Obviously not, and Amy's not saying that either. She's simply sharing her personal experience and being upfront about what worked for her. I actually think there's something valuable in that honesty because it strips away some of the fake perfection that Hollywood usually tries to maintain, where celebrities pretend they achieved everything through willpower and green smoothies when the reality involves personal trainers, private chefs, and yes, sometimes medical interventions. At the end of the day, Amy's journey is her own, and the fact that she's willing to be this open about it, including acknowledging the privilege of being able to afford these options, shows a level of authenticity that's pretty rare in celebrity culture. The conversation around GLP-1 medications like Mounjaro is actually way bigger than just Amy Schumer, though, and I think this is where the story gets really interesting from a cultural perspective, because we're seeing this massive shift in how society talks about weight loss and what tools are acceptable to use. For decades, the message was always diet and exercise, period. Anything else was considered cheating or taking the easy way out. But now we're starting to understand that weight management is way more complex than just calories in versus calories out. There are hormonal factors, genetic factors, metabolic factors, psychological factors, all kinds of things that can make losing weight incredibly difficult for some people, no matter how much they diet and exercise. These GLP-1 medications work by mimicking hormones that regulate appetite and blood sugar, essentially helping your body do what it might struggle to do on its own. And the results have been so significant that the medical community is starting to recognize obesity as a chronic condition that sometimes requires medical treatment just like any other health issue. Now, does that mean everyone who wants to lose a few pounds should immediately ask their doctor about Mounjaro? No, and that's not what I'm saying. But I do think Amy's openness about using it helps normalize the conversation around treating weight management as a legitimate medical concern rather than just a vanity issue or a moral failing. The fact that she mentioned how most of the internet thinks she has severe obesity shows that she's aware of how people perceive her body. And instead of being defensive about it, she's just like, yeah, people talk about my weight constantly, so I might as well be honest about what I'm doing about it. Let's also talk about the timing of all this, because Amy's transformation and openness about her methods comes at a really interesting moment in pop culture where we're simultaneously having conversations about body positivity and also seeing this explosion of interest in these new weight loss medications. On one hand, you've got this whole movement about accepting all bodies and not equating thinness with health or worth, which is obviously important and valuable. But on the other hand, you've got individual people making personal choices about their own bodies and what makes them feel good, and sometimes those choices include losing weight through whatever means work for them. I don't think these two things have to be in opposition. You can support body positivity as a cultural movement while also respecting individual autonomy when it comes to personal health decisions. Amy seems to be navigating this tension pretty well by being open about her choices without being preachy about them. She's not out here telling other people what they should do with their bodies. She's just documenting her own journey, and being honest about where she's showing off her slimmer figure isn't accompanied by some caption about how everyone should lose weight or how being thinner made her happier. It's just her living her life and looking confident in her own skin, which I think is actually the whole point of body positivity anyway. Feeling good in whatever body you have, whether that's bigger or smaller. One thing I really appreciate about Amy